Alright guys, so here we are with Bishop's brand new SMP pen. I'm also going to be using their 0603 needle, which is a 20 millimeter. Stay tuned because after I'm going to give a full review, the pros and the cons of this bad boy right here. Alright guys, let's dive into this review on this Bishop's SMP pen. Before we move forward, I just want to give a special shout out to David Hoffer and Franco Vescovi for sending me this machine and allowing me to give them this review. So, first impressions, as you can see, this machine is very, very small and I have huge hands. Is that a bad thing for you? Absolutely not. But for me, it took some time to get used to it. So before I even decided to make this review, I wanted to make sure that we really put this to the test. So what we did was we ran it through 10 clients. So we did 30 sessions. So we're talking about anywhere between 50 to 60 hours before we decided to do an actual review on this, make sure I'll give you the best review that we possibly could. So now, going back to its size, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. It is incredibly light, almost like you don't even feel it. So it's almost like you're writing with an actual pen. So I can see from an engineering standpoint why they made it this small. But for someone like me, it took some getting used to. So what I had to do was take medical tape and use a whole roll so that it can feel comfortable in my hand and it wasn't tingling. Now, once I had this Bishop SMP pen wrapped up to my liking, I will tell you right now, I was able to make the smallest, tightest, most accurate impressions that I have ever made using any other machines. And in another video, you'll see just how many machines I have, which are my go-tos and which ones I experiment here and there with. This guy right here gave me the best impressions that I have ever made utilizing any other machine. Another thing is, kudos to Bishop for doing this. I understand it. Yes, although the website claims that it is universal with most needles, I like using FYT needles and Cheyenne needles. I was finding some difficulty getting them on. You had to really tighten them on to the point sometimes it was hurting my fingers. But now with the Bishop needles, snaps right in as they should. Kudos on Bishops for doing that. So now, who do I feel this Bishop SMP pen would be the ideal artist that can use this? Well, for one, someone who's got a much smaller hand and someone who's already used to working with a lighter pen. Me, myself, the pens that I am used to are much heavier. So I use the weight for velocity and I have that assist me when I'm making my impressions. With this, I had to involve a little more muscle. Again, that's not a bad thing. That's just my way and my technique and how I learn and what I'm used to now. Also, someone with a smaller hand. So I would say whether it be a man or a woman with a smaller hand, this thing is gonna fit amazing right into your hand. Like I said, it is like you are actually writing. Again, just because I said my hands are big, that doesn't mean that it's a flaw. It's just what I'm used to. If I showed you a pen that I would write with my normal notes, I have thick, big pens thanks to these big guys right here, okay? So one thing that did kind of like get in the way is it's wired. I'm so used to the freedom of being able to move around and not have to worry about manipulating wires, wrapping it around, moving it from the client's face. And yes, I know Bishop now makes a separate battery pack that you can install, but I did not get to experience that, so I could only speak from a wired perspective. So that being said, obviously, if you're used to using wired machines, this is not going to be a problem for you at all. For me, it was, because it took some adjusting, and I'm going to say even all the way to my 10th client, I just found myself doing things like trying to turn the machine off right from the actual machine itself as if it was a wireless one. And it's just these little things like that would kind of throw off my concentration. But again, if you're used to wired, this will be no issue for you. So overall, is this worth it? Absolutely. Like I said, I made the tightest impressions that I ever have made with any other machine, I made it with this machine right here. I kept my I kept my voltage steady on an 8. And when I spoke to a good friend of mine, Mark Allen, also someone who's sponsored by Bishop, he's the one who gave me the heads up, told me keep it at an 8. And the reason for that was it was like its sweet spot. And when I talk about that machine is moving at a constant straight up and down, any more voltage than that, what happens is the needle stops traveling straight up and down. It actually starts having a little wiggle to it, so it doesn't give you that nice tight impression. It still gives you an overall good impression, but it doesn't give you that nice tight impression. And I found that running it on an 8. When I did get to the crown of the head, you know, the meaty portion of the scalp, I found myself having to ramp it up to 8.5. Still gave me amazing results. Overall, I think this is a great machine. Again, it's just I'm so used to, you know, the heavier machines, bigger machines. Now, if you're in the market and you're looking for a machine and you want to go with Bishop, I have no doubt in my mind that you're not going to be upset going with this guy right here. I'm still going to keep it in my arsenal because, like I said, it gave me amazing impressions. So if I have these smaller jobs, maybe like a Norwood 1, 2, or 3, where I'm just focusing on the front, the hairline, I'm definitely going to be using this guy right here. All right, guys, I hope this review helps you guys out, brings you a little bit of value. Anybody that was looking to purchase this new pen or just hasn't found any information out there about it, if you want more detailed information, I would suggest you hit my good friend up, David Hoffer. He has absolutely all the knowledge and everything that you need when it comes to Bishop SMP Pen. All right, guys.